I'd like to start off by saying that I'm completely grateful to be here with you guys. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing, commenting, all that fancy stuff. It really means a lot, but it's more important to me that you are a part of my community. It's more important to me that you are interested in growing as a person. So I wanted to just get that out of the way so you can know that time is something I can never give you back. So the fact that you are just sharing any of it at all with me, it means a lot, okay? I'll never take that for granted. Secondly, my sinus is having a field day with me. And I'm not really a fan of my nose being all stuffy. But I really want to make it through this video in just one take, okay? So again, thank you so much guys for being here. It really does mean a lot to me. Now, what I'd like to talk about today is something that I've done without knowing that it was such a big thing. Like, I'm not surprised that other people are doing it. I'm just like, I'm just like, what? Because honestly, I just thought it was something that was never really spoken about much. Now, what's this thing that I'm talking about? It's that whole no contact thing, like non-contact. Like, people are going no contact with their family and friends. But in this one, I specifically want to talk about parents. But of course, honorable mention is just people overall. You see, on this journey with yourself, you get to decide what consumes your time. Remember, you are making time for yourself. We are all busy. We got things going on. So it's easy for you to get wrapped up in just continuously doing everything for everyone and never yourself. So to take a stance and be like, oh, no, I'm choosing me this time. It's going to feel weird. And it's going to, it's going to come with moments when you just feel like maybe this was just a stupid thing and a waste of time. And those are the times that you have to stay strong, because that's where true strength is. That's where it lies. When it comes to you enforcing no, using no as a complete sentence, no explanation is necessary. If, however, you choose to explain why you're saying no, that's your call. But no is a complete sentence, okay? So removing what doesn't work for you, that's okay. So to go no contact, especially in the sense of your parents or legal guardian, that's huge, because naturally we are born to love and adore our parents. They're the first humans that we are introduced to, like, we hear their voices, and when we come out, we're just attached to them. So to get to the point where you have to put a stop to communicating with someone whose role is so monumental, whose role is so big in your life, like, that's a huge title. So to put a stop to that and say, oh no, I'm choosing me and my peace, yes, that's definitely a thing that we need to talk about. One of the things about going no contact means that you have to be sure that you can do this. It is a very bold move to make. And when you make it, based again on their title or their role in your life, you'll feel like it's ridiculous and it goes against the status quo, it goes against the norms. How dare you not speak to your parent? Especially when you hear that, oh, you only get one mom or you only get one dad and life is short and anything can happen and da 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 da. Those are all things to consider. Those are things that we've heard before. So why would you just decide to go no contact with such a force that's been present? But I wanted to talk about it because I don't think people understand that for you to choose to not mess with someone who's an important figure in your life, it's not an easy feat. That wears on you, okay? It's not something that you just do without remorse and without feelings. When you sit with yourself and you come to the point where you conclude that this is the decision, it's not just something that was made lightly. And what I would like to educate people on is that if it gets to the point where your child has to say no to you, like, you don't get to be a part of my life, you don't get to be a part of my grandchild's life or grandchildren, you don't get to feel entitled because you are a parent, when in many ways a lot of us were abused, and these things causes trauma. And abuse is not just physical. There's emotional abuse, there's verbal abuse, there's so many aspects that comes with hurting. And you see, when you're a child and you need your parent, you forgive them over and over. You let things slide because you want them, and you try to prove yourself to them, and you try to show up for them. So to get to the point where you have to say enough, it means that everything that you've tried and every bit of you that you've given is completely drained. And now you have to save yourself. You have to choose yourself, whatever that comes with and whatever that looks like. No one's desire is to not have their parents be a part of their life. Not unless you were just a completely wicked person. Some relationships, they are fixable. But for your child to look at you and say no in every aspect of what no could possibly mean, then I would suggest that you, as a parental figure, take some time and analyze yourself. Assess the situations and try to step outside of your ego and understand why it is you think someone would tap out of you. There are father figures and mother figures out there that your child can get from somewhere else with no strings attached. But they would have probably loved it from you directly. You have some people who don't know what a fatherly love is like, nor a motherly love from their parent, from their biological parent. Sometimes it's when we get out there and get into the world and start associating with people, they start caring for us in a way that sometimes we're not even used to. Sometimes we are so traumatized that we don't even know how to accept it. Sometimes it plays out in our lives in a way that is messy and it wrecks us. And we have to deal with it. You see, when you were a child, you probably had to stay with your parent because they were your source of everything. They provided food, clothing, shelter, all those necessities in life. And you're grateful for it. I don't think a child just banishes everything that you've done for them. They don't do that, actually. Even when they seem cold, they don't do that. But I think where a lot of adult parents lose us is when you can't even step outside yourself to say, yeah, you're right. I did play a part in your life that was so messy. You see, we know that you guys are humans. We know that you go through things. We know that life breaks you. We know all of that. We don't judge you for that. And even if we do, when you get older and things happen and it provides a little bit more clarity into what you're going through. Sometimes we genuinely do feel sorry for you, and we're like, man, that is nothing for someone to go through. That is terrible. And we empathize and we sympathize. But that's not the problem. That's not why we give up on y'all. We give up on y'all because even when the truth is staring us in the face, you can't even open your mouth to say you did that, you took part in that. You can't even open your mind to fathom the fact that your child had to be front and center with everything that was going on in your life. But you think that because you did the necessities, then job well done. No, that was your job. You are supposed to take care of your kids. That's why you are a parent. It's not rocket science. And if you're not able to step into the role of a parent, don't have kids. Because it's messed up to say, but kids did not ask to be here. They had no say in this. But I will also note, honorable mention, sometimes I do think that we choose our parents. Sometimes I do think that we were designated to break the curse, you know. And so it comes with you being the black sheep. It comes with you being opinionated. It comes with you being the strong one. It comes with you fighting battles that you never asked to be a part of. So in a breath, I do feel like, depending on what you believe, then yes, some of us, we literally picked our parents, we picked our family because maybe whatever plane we were coming from, that family was in dire need. And the only way that the trajectory of life was ever going to change is if we pretty much intercepted and choose them. The thing is, I don't think we remember, we don't have those memories, because the deal of it was for us to come here and have the human experience and go through it and change life as we know it. So I know that's a whole different argument for a different day. So I just wanted to just give honorable mention. But parents, they feel like because they did the bare minimum, you should just be, I don't know, allowing them to walk on clouds because, oh, I did the best I could. You did what you were supposed to do. That's the role of being a parent. And it's crazy because while we watched you go through life, it made us strong. It made us put up our defenses. It made us miserable in some senses. It made us either just like you or the exact opposite of everything that you stand for. Because there's always two outcomes from a situation: positive and negative. With every action, there's a reaction. Okay? But parents walk around doing the bare minimum and think that with everything that they've brought you through, there's absolutely no impact. And then you get to the point where you're an adult now, and they can't even look you in the eyes and have a very honest conversation. They can't even begin to acknowledge the impact that their crap had on your life. They can't do that. You have parents who are on ego trips because how dare I answer to my child? How dare me as the parent say I'm sorry to you and actually mean it? And that's where we have to just say our goodbyes. I want the world for you. I want the best for you. I want you to grow and get out of the funk that you're in. But you're just going to have to do that without me. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But based on the strength that we've formed, because some parents, while they are physically present, emotionally, and mentally, they are checked out of their kids. So we learn to put up a strength to get through our day-to-day. And in that strength, we have decided to remove everything that is toxic, everything that goes against our peace, and everything that is for the change that we want to see in our family and in our lives. These are not easy. Cutting your parent out of your life is not easy, but it's necessary if you have to choose you and the person or persons around you takes you off track from that. So for the parents out there who can look into themselves and make a change because they really want to be a part of their child's life, they will. And kudos for y'all when y'all get there. And I really hope you mean it, and I hope it's not an act, because I don't think your child is interested in repeatedly telling you the problem, because they've told you one too many times and you've ignored it because I'm the parent, you're the child. What I say and who I am proves more significance. So the ego of some parents, because this is not all parents and this is not from all kids, but you see the ego that y'all have where you think, well, because of everything that you've done and everything that you've gone through, you don't need to have the conversation because your child should know, well, you're grown now. And if you're so grown and you understand that I wasn't my best self and I could not be there for you the way you wanted, then I think you should give me that whole silent forgiveness and save the lecture. And let's just continue on like nothing never happened. Because, they always seem to have amnesia. Like you didn't go through it. Like you didn't experience the things that you literally experienced. They look at you like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I never did that to you. I would have never done that to you. Well, I guess your memory might be bad. Or maybe, just maybe, even though your intentions were to protect us and to support us the best way that you knew how, doesn't mean that because your intentions were good, we weren't still affected in our day-to-day life, which in turn changes our path, messes up our future sometimes, and it requires a certain amount of strength to put a stop to it. And if that stop means that on a permanent basis I have to cut you out, then that's what I'm willing to do. Because I have seen the other sides of life courtesy of you. And I don't want that for the future. You see, I understand that people are dealing with traumas, and sometimes the way they deal with it is by not dealing with it because, well, your parents and their parents before that and their parents before that, they did it this way and that way and no one had to talk about it and we all know what happened and we should just move on and keep it quiet and push through and just, just live. Why are you dwelling on the past? Well, maybe because you also experienced being traumatized, maybe, just maybe, you wouldn't want that for your child. And so you'd be willing to make whatever necessary adjustments and to make whatever steps it takes to get to the point where you do not have to be a reflection of the things around you too. So, yes, when I see people going no contact, of course, it seems like a trend. I didn't even know that it was a thing because I just got up one day and I was like, I'm just not doing that. I'm I'm gonna tap out of it for a little bit so I can get my head together. So my sanity can thrive. So I decided to talk about it, and the devices, they listen to us, so of course it's gonna show you things similar to what you're thinking. And so I clicked on a video, and that video showed more videos, and then I started researching on it more, and I see that people have gone years without contacting their family, their mother, their dads, whoever, and I see the pain that comes with it. And I also see the redemption that comes with it. Choosing you is hard. Family and support, of course. I think in the end, everyone wants that. But not the way that keeps depressing us for generations to come and affecting us in ways where we don't even feel like we want to be here. Because we didn't even ask to be here. And then we're here. We're given less than nothing to work with. And then we're made to feel like we're just so draining and we took the life away from you. Why would you think that the person wants to be here then? Because I don't see where that's a positive. Okay. So when I did my research and I realized that people were going no contact, it made me sad. Because I'm like, so many people are feeling the same way. So many people are deciding, I'm putting an end to what the so-called norm is of being traumatized, depressed, and unfulfilled in a familial sense. That's not cool. At the end of the day, no one is asking you to be perfect. No one is asking you to just act as if you weren't affected too. That's not what they're asking. They're asking you to make the necessary adjustments so that y'all can thrive in a positive light. And they will support you and be there with you through thick or thin, like they always have. But it's not your child's duty to keep playing the role of the parent to their parent. It is not the child's duty to keep explaining to you all the ways that they are hurting while you act like, well, deal with it because I went through worse and you don't see me crying. No, I probably don't see you crying, but I can see that because you went through all of that, you're so blinded. You're so disconnected to the point where you think that nothing, you're so delusional. You think nothing is that crazy for you to not have your child in your life. And in a sense, of course, that's right. Nothing is too crazy for your child to be in your life. But it means that you have to get up and decide that this is where we make the change. So, shout out to everyone out there standing on their boundaries. And shout out to the parents who are really, literally trying their best to work on themselves so that they don't get to miss out anymore on their kids. Shout out to all of y'all. But your role, your title, it's no longer a valid reason for us to just put up with your bullshit. Literally. So I hope this video can provide some clarity. No one is trying to be disrespectful, but sometimes when you choose you, it may seem like you're disrespectful, and you might get banished, and you might be called the outcast, and you might be the problem child. But sometimes people call you names, and sometimes people put you in boxes because you embody something that they could never be for themselves. So it's easier to pick you apart than it is to build you up. Don't fall for that. Accept it. And you owe it to yourself, not to anyone, to walk the path that serves you best.